Greetings, Inquisitor. I'm glad you found this holocron. Today's information is going to be about the new Conquest game mode. For anyone who doesn't know, I'm an experienced player with a main account at 4.4 million galactic power and an alt account that's at zero point 0.7. My channel is about making accounts that are good at Grand Arena, and the style of account that we try to build for Grand Arena is by focusing on certain teams and making a few teams very powerful rather than building a huge roster with a whole bunch of different characters. Now, the nice news is I get to play Conquest with both accounts, my main and my alt, and I get to use the experience from my main to help me try to figure out what's best to build in my alt account, not only for Grand Arena, but if I also want to participate in this Conquest mode. And I found some good stuff today, and I'm here to share it with people and potentially give some hope, especially to players that are, let's say, in that 1 to 2 million galactic power range. They might play this Conquest game mode and think, well, I'm not going to get past the first, stage or two and be done. But I think you could prepare your account to go through the first two sectors pretty easily, potentially in pretty far into Sector 3 with just a few good teams. And really, if you have two good teams, I think this event is long enough that you could get most of the way through this. You'll have to wear down the stamina on your teams a little bit, let it bring it back, and then wait for the energy to refresh naturally. But I think this game mode is certainly possible to do well in with just a few good teams. But you have to build those teams up well enough to do well in this game mode. Once progressing to Sector 2, I was having a real hard time doing it with any just Gear 12 teams messing around with it. I needed usually at least one relic character in there to make it work well. And by Sector 3, the enemies are getting a lot of speed, they're moving fast, they're hitting hard. So you really have to have your teams dialed in by the time you get to Sector 3. Again, we've had this game mode for one day, and I've only had experience with a couple of energy refreshes and messing around with it for a couple hours, but I think I have a good initial impression of what this looks like. And we do have some teams that we've already talked about for Grand Arena. Only require one or two relic characters to make the whole team work well enough to function. So the good news is, for me at least, the Grand Arena style account that I'm planning for my alt is going to work just fine to get me some decent loot in Conquest. Not going to pretend I'm going to be able to go all the way, after a few months, but definitely I can see the path and what's going to work well over there. It's also what's going to work well in Grand Arena. So one of the first teams, I love Enfys Nest. I tried Enfys Nest out. She's great. She's killing the Geo battles, Ewok battles, anything like that. Just put Nest in solo. It's one character. She'll win. She'll get 3 stars. It's a real good way to save your stamina on your other good teams. So once you have a few good teams up and running, this Nest, her run will cost you energy, but it won't wear out the stamina on the teams that you want to keep high stamina to push for higher sectors. I did have one bad luck run where on a level Sector 3 node, she got one shot by the Geo spy, but it just costs you energy. You go back out and her stamina is not affected by the loss, and it stinks to lose 15 energy, but once you get a few teams up and running, you're going to be more worried about the stamina, I think, than the energy. So anyway, she's a great option. She's just been cruising through this stuff for me, and not even a risk. Mine's Relic 8, you can see from the picture, but I think a Relic 3 to 5 Nest would be just fine for clearing up stuff on Sector 1, Sector 2. Next team that I found that was very successful, I've got a Geo team on my 0.7 account, and they were doing just fine cleaning up teams in Sector 1. I played my own Geo team in Sector 2. I've got a Relic, Brood Alpha, and just Gear 12 Geos across the rest. And once again, they did fantastic. They won with, 3 stars. So against the teams where they're good, Phoenix, Imperials, the Resistance, Jedi teams, they're fine. I think that team will help you get through at least the first couple sectors. I imagine at Sector 3 they'll start to fall off. But again, we're talking about early game people who are just looking for some hope that this is going to be an achievable game mode. So this is a team that I found that is effective against certain teams. And I think in the first boss, on the low-level stuff, my Geos aren't enough to take it out. But with a Relic Geo on my main account, I can take out the first boss. So that's also good. And that boss was Treya. I was just messing around. I was trying it against Treya to see how bad it would be. And they took out Treya so fast that, it wasn't even relevant. I killed the rest of her team shortly thereafter. So even against a really bad matchup, the Geos can do work. All right, Imperial Troopers. Dear Lord, these guys are killing it. On my main account, it is truly the second most effective team that I have right now. Of course, Supreme Leader Kylo Ren is the team that can just crush whatever it wants so far within the first 3 sectors. But these guys are doing work against the Resistance teams. A couple General Skywalker teams I ran across, and they just ran through them like there was nothing. You can see I've got 3 relic characters on the team that I'm using. I will say, whatever version of the troopers that you were planning to build, and for myself, it just reinforces how valuable Moff Gideon is to this team. And I think if you're going to build a trooper team for Grand Arena, if you're going to build a trooper team to help you in Conquest, Moff Gideon is really the trooper to go for. So I had some different plans on my account, and I'm going to change that and go straight for Gideon because the way he works against the Resistance is just so good. It's so good. Demoralize cuts their damage in half. He removes all the turn meter. The rest of the troopers kill everything before they get to take a turn. And that's a team that's it's pretty tough for a lot of the early game teams. I don't think you're going to beat that with Geos very easily. But these troopers just, make a joke out of that team. So very, very solid team for Conquest. And, I ran mine down to like 60 energy, and they were still winning battles in Sector 3 at 60% stamina. So 60% of their effectiveness, they were still crushing stuff on Sector 3. So when we get to high enough zones, already in Sector 3, the characters, the enemies are going really fast. I've got a Separatist team pretty early on that I looked at, and they had 25% extra speed from one of the modifications and 20% speed from another one of the modifications. So 45% speed from the environmental buffs, if you like to call them that. And I certainly didn't find 45% worth of speed discs on my way getting there. So in higher zones, if the enemy teams just outspeed these troopers, then their effectiveness is probably going to fall off. But remember, Moff Gideon is the fastest non-galactic legend in the game. So he will be taking away turn meter up to, the highest level that you could deal with a normal team. So I think this is, if you're only going to build 2 good teams, this is one of them. That looks like it's going to be incredibly effective. Team 4, the Jedi. Of course, on my main account, I have Jedi Knight Revan. But I made 2 teams. I made a Jedi Knight Revan team. And I also made a Bastila team. And I tried Padme. And already at Sector 2, I was surprised at how Padme was falling off. I mean, I fought her against the General Skywalker team, and we got wrecked. And my Padme team is no joke on my main account. But it was surprisingly less effective. So what I did, I took my Jedi Knight Anakin and my Ahsoka. and I put him on a Bastila team to represent sort of what you could build early game with Bastila, those two, Old Ben as a tank. And I did find that with this Jedi team, it's really good to have a tank on the team. When I didn't have a tank on the team, it was much less effective. I also had Grandmaster Yoda on there, and the enemies beeline for Grandmaster Yoda, and they kill him right away unless you have a tank in there to protect him. So with Bastila team, I would suggest Anakin, Ahsoka, Grandmaster Yoda if you've got him, and a tank. And that team was effective. It was good. I was getting good wins. They felt comfortable and strong at Sector 2. I haven't messed around with it much yet at Sector 3, but they felt stronger than Padme in Sector 2, which is unusual. But I guess that might just be the way it works with the environmental buffs and stuff like that. So Jedi, an early game team that certainly proves that they can work in Conquest. And Team 5, this is my gift to you all as new players. This is something I'm going to build on my Loquitur account. I've been theory crafting it and doing some spreadsheets, and the numbers say that this team should be great. I haven't proven it out yet by actually building the team, but what you do, you build a team with your favorite bounty hunters. And I put Django in the lead just for some extra speed because we want our bounty hunters to go fast. And if you build this team with just, let's say, low gear bounty hunters, I don't even care if they're gear 12, but you get that Queel to Relic 7. He has about 5,000 attack power at Relic 7. He shares 40% of his health, protection, offense, and potency with scoundrels and droids. All of these bounty hunters are scoundrels. So, out of that 5,000, they're going to get 2,000 offense. And, a bounty hunter at gear 12 only has like 2,200, 2,600 offense. So you're literally doubling their offense for free, for nothing, just by putting one character on the team. You're giving them health, you're giving them protection, giving them potency. And just based on those stats, if you look at health, protection, and offense, it basically puts all four of your other bounty hunters at about the Relic 3, Relic 4 level for the price of one Relic 7 Queel. And the bounty hunters were doing really good work against Ewoks, Night Sisters. There was a couple Geo teams that I had in my run that I took them up against. And the bounty hunters, they just did their job, mowed everything down, no contest. It is a good team. I do have a fast bounty hunter team, so my bounty hunters do go quickly and get off a lot of moves before the opponent, and Boss can stun somebody, and Django can put people on fire and all that stuff. But this team gets even faster with Queel, because you can, one of his skills gives all of your scoundrels 25% turn meter. So you make him super fast, and again, he doesn't contribute his speed to these bounty hunters, but he can do that right away, speed them all up, and all your guys get to go before the opposing team. And with all that damage and sort of like, let's say, ramping speed, and with the Grief Karga in the team, you get monstrous recovery for health and protection too with his skills. So I feel like this team is really going to be a solid team for Grand Arena. It's going to be a defensive team for me when I get it built. And it's going to be a good team that's going to be able to keep all 5 characters alive through the Conquest events. So the other thing to note is that if you get an offense, the disc that has offense and crit, or you get the health and protection, you'll be giving Queel like 40% health and 30% protection. And then whatever health and protection he gets, he's going to share back with the rest of the team. So if he's at 80,000 health and you give him that like 38% or whatever it is extra health, he's going to go up to 110,000, share 40% of that. And it's just, it's a crazy amount of extra stats that he's going to share with the rest of the team. So I think this is a really solid team. Again, I haven't built it and play tested it. I don't have videos to show you of how it works. But I'm definitely going to build it on my Loquitur account. And if somebody else is close to this, it's something worth looking into. Now, the two characters that are on single shard drops, Greef Karga and Queel, it just so happens that Greef Karga is on the same fleet node as the Rebel pilotless ship, I believe, and Queel is on the same node as the Imperial pilotless tank. And those two ships are worth having. So these two characters are worth farming, and it's like you get a free ship when you farm them. So I definitely, I think this is a good team to build. And again, if you're, lower in galactic power and you're looking to build a bounty hunter team, this is a good bounty hunter team for Grand Arena, and it looks like it's going to be a really good addition to your Conquest team as well. So, less effective teams. I feel like my Mon Mothma team is pretty good. I mean, I've got a Relic 7 Zeta K2SO on there. I use my Chupio, who's Relic 7. It has great mods. And then I have a couple off characters who aren't quite as big and tough. But that team has crazy tenacity. I was showing people on my stream the other day. I have it all modded for tenacity. And then Chupio shares the tenacity from Mon Mothma among everybody. She's sharing the tenacity stat from her leadership. And that team has an average of 200 tenacity or more. And already at Sector 2, they're just debuffing me into the dirt. Damage over time sticks. Anything they throw at me is sticking to all my characters. And I don't understand it. The game must give these guys insane potency. And I've read the environmental effects, and I've looked at the leadership skills and everything else, and I do not see that there's some plus 90% potency or something like that I'm missing. So I believe that they've just got these characters ramped way up on potency, and this Mon Mothma team, the way I've got it built, is, I will say, surprisingly ineffective. My clone bomb team with the Relic 7 5s and a bunch of clones, the team is meant to sacrifice 5s and then just go crazy, and it does, but those are 2-star wins. So obviously we want a 3-star win if we can get it. It's a team that can work for 2 stars, but certainly, again, it's 2/3 as effective as a team that gets you 3 stars. And the Padme team was surprisingly mediocre already in Sector 2 and Sector 3. And maybe I'll figure something out as to why that is, but I was really surprised at how poorly Padme did. So if we want to go through a little bit of gameplay real quick, I'll kind of show you and prove out why it is that I picked these teams and show you a little bit how the gameplay went with those teams. This is my Loquitur account, so this is the low-level stuff. These Night Sisters, I couldn't get 3 stars on them. Talzin, just no matter which team I played, she always got her plague off. And even with the Imperial Troopers, she got a whole bunch of turn meter, and that was it. So we fought Ewoks, we fought some Imperials. I haven't refreshed energy or anything else. I've just used these characters and run down their stamina a little bit. But the Geo team here was effective for us. And this Trooper team, I do have one Relic Snow Trooper. It's been incredibly effective for me in these first round. And I did put Vader in a couple times with the Troopers just to, put a little more punch in there. But it's not needed. So we're going to play this matchup with the Troopers and, the good old-fashioned junky Stormtrooper that, barely has enough gear to have protection. We need to get Canderous out of here as soon as we can, and we really have to watch triggering the counterattacks from Enfys Nest. So we'll do the buffs, and then instead of the big area effect with Snow Trooper, we'll just shoot Canderous. We'll kill him with the side effect from that area effect. We'll go ahead and take that from Nest. We'll take another counterattack from Nest. And then we'll single attack again. And you can see we're way ahead on turn meter. These guys aren't going to get an opportunity to do anything. And we take them down. So the trooper team is looking good. Again, if you build a team like this, I would definitely have Moff Gideon in it. And, potentially the ranged trooper instead of Stark. I think that would be a better fit. These shops, to me, look like a very good value. It's 12 of these tickets per gold item. And these are the gold items for the right side of the relic of a character. And I think, once you start getting a decent amount of those tickets, I feel like the value for exchange on those is a good deal. I think with my Locator account, I will not be using a bunch of those tickets to grab a bunch of boosts and try to get more tickets. You see, once you pass these thresholds, like 55, 65, 75, you get a lot of tickets. You get like 50 more of these currency or chips or whatever you want to call them as you go up levels. So I may find out as I play more that it's going to be effective to trade in some of those to get past the next threshold and get an extra 50 of them. But for right now, when I look at the store, I'm interested in doing as well as I can with my characters. And you see here 75 for 5 Mark IV Bacta-Gels, 15 each for the Bacta-Gels. That is not a bad deal. It seems like, for the amount that we're going to get here. And I've got 110 already today just from messing around on day one. And my teams are, I'm going to run out of Conquest. I'm going to meet the point where I can't succeed anymore pretty quickly on this Locator account. But yeah, I'm still got 110 tickets already. And I feel like I'm going to be able to get maybe around 300 by the time I'm done, if I'm lucky. So, that's 4 purchases out of the store. It's not horrible. So here we're going to take in the Geos. And we're going to put them up against, I wasn't watching close enough, the Imperials, I think. Yeah. So the Geos against the Imperials, and this goes just exactly like you would expect. They start out, and they're throwing all kinds of damage at us. And, they've still got turn meter. They've got more guys to go. Now, what I do in a matchup like this, Geos can't kill one character real fast except for the spy. So what you do, you go around and you work on these characters a bit at a time and you put ability block on them. So we don't want Death Trooper to do his area effect, so we need to get back there and or the Snow Trooper operative or whatever to do his attack. So we're putting ability block on, and I think here we're going to potentially just try to get this operative out of here. All right, there we go. So now let's spread around the love. Let's get some ability blocks on all these guys. All right. So now we've taken enough damage that we're, halfway down on protection. It's not too scary yet. But the more damage they do, the further we get into the health, then we're going to want to use our ability and heal back up. So here we're just using our characters. We're going around from one guy to another. We're putting ability blocks on these guys so that all they get to do is their basics. Poggle's on strike. He is not going to put the ability block on that guy. And then he's close enough to killing that we can kill him with that soldier's move. And then we just keep working it. Get the Death Trooper. Get the expose off of him. Trigger the expose off of this guy. Get some more exposes. Try to take out Moff Gideon. And this is how your Geos, like, let's say, can punch up to a higher level. To me, that ability block is the strongest thing you got going on the team. As long as the opponent can only basic attack your brute, the rest of your guys are pretty safe. As long as you're not taking a whole bunch of area effect attacks from them, it's a pretty easy win. So again, that's not even a relic Geo team, and it's gear 10 and 11 guys. So that's a bit how those guys play out at a low level. And again, this is sub-million account, so it's not great characters, but still doing okay getting through the first conquest. So here we've got Sector 3. The boss is pretty big at the end, and it escalates from the beginning to end with increasingly difficult battles. Here we've got a Separatist team and another Separatist team. That one's got Wat Tambor and Grievous, so we don't really want to do that one if we don't have to. You can read some of the bonuses we've got on Zone 3. 25% speed, health, and protection, and the damage they deal is increased by 25%. And then here we have a second buff, max health, max protection, and speed 20%. So these guys are double boosted Separatists. So what we're going to do, we're going to pick a team to go in here. And what team do you think we're going to pick? Bounty Hunters. Take Moff Gideon out, and we're going to put in Boba Fett. Just another Gear 12, pretty lame bounty hunter. And this team has quite a few relics. Oh, I guess we'll put in Django. All right. So this is a good bounty hunter team, but you're going to see in terms of mechanics how this team is going to serve you well in the Conquest game mode. So here we can assist with grief. Just start working on the contract. Aura Singh's contract is, I believe, 10 buffed characters taking an action. So it's pretty easy to get her contract off. And she does a lot of damage herself. So we'll take this Geo Brute Alpha and shoot him for 230,000 damage. I love it. It's great. She also has a stun chance on her basic. Now here we can take this Disintegrate, and you have no revive for Newt. And you can see they just handle this team. 134,000 on him. And so Bounty Hunters 1, other team nothing. And you still got Grief Karga with his, heal and protection up and all that stuff that he can do in addition to... so if they do take damage, then he can heal them back up, and you got a really good chance of finishing out with 5 characters and getting a good score, 3 stars. All right, so let's take a look at one more battle. This is against that Resistance Relic 3 Ray style team, and we're going to take the Imperial Troopers in with Moff Gideon, and you can see these guys are trashed, right? They're 50% effectiveness. Piet is 40% effective. Their stamina is pretty much gone. Moff Gideon has a little more stamina, but these guys are half strength. Half strength, Zone 3. And this is going to look like a funny game. It's silly how easily this team handles this Zone 3 Relic 3 team. They're never even going to get a turn. I think they get in like 1 or 2 counterattacks, but it's dumb. It's just over. So this trooper team, like I said, has astonished me, and that would not work the way it works without Moff Gideon. You really need him in there to control the situation right off the bat and get that turn meter down. And then here we have relic level Geos. And you all know what we do with relic level Geos. We take a 60% stamina Enfys Nest and shove her in there. And and then you watch the battle for 4.5 minutes. Well, Enfys Nest goes to work on these Geos. So, and again, if you're, once you get to higher levels, you're going to want to protect your stamina on these characters. I think if you don't have a huge roster, it's going to be important to have a character like Nest or some, something where you can save so much stamina on this fight. We're only decreasing one character. And if she loses, there's a chance that she can lose to this Geo Spy, right? But if she loses, all that is it's 15 energy. So her stamina would stay the same, and you can retry it again with the same character. They're not used up like they are in Grand Arena or something like that. So I'm going to turn this off. There's no reason for us to sit here and watch Enfys Nest for that long. We all know what she does and what that looks like, I think. So I'm going to cut it off there. And just suffice to say, the idea behind Nest is if we find out that stamina, saving stamina is important, then she can certainly help with that. So first look, conclusions. The shop looks good. I think you're going to get enough currency out of there to buy some good stuff. And, I understand that the chest is supposed to be the big prize at the end of Conquest, but I don't know. I think that especially for lower level players who aren't going to get to the higher level chests, the shop looks good. It's a great consolation prize. We're still going to get some good stuff out of there. It's going to help. It's stuff that we didn't have before. At lower galactic power, there's going to be plenty of time to play through the nodes at full stamina. So I was messing around today, and I ran my guys down on stamina. I really only have two good teams, the Imperial Trooper team and the Geo team. And, I'm not going to get that far into Sector 2, I don't think. Probably not going to get into Sector 3 with this account at this point in time. And the Conquest thing is going on for 2 weeks, so there's plenty of time for me to get the energy, let the stamina build back up, and just fight battles at full stamina, or at least 90%. So we shouldn't need energy refreshes, and we should have plenty of time to do it. For people who have a big account and, they're going to get higher up, probably have to spend some energy on refreshes, and may eventually have to spend energy on, tickets and stuff like that, on boosts and restoring stamina in order to finish out the whole Conquest if you want the top prize and all of the stuff. So my thoughts, don't get too greedy. It'd be nice if we could get even more stuff and more loot out of it at a lower level, but again, this is more free stuff that we didn't have before, so you have to look at it as just a fun play challenge and a gift, and a good reason to just pick your favorite two teams and start putting a couple relic characters on them so that you can do better in Conquest. All right. That's all I have for the video today. That wraps it up. I appreciate everybody's time. I hope this gives some better hope to people who are just starting out and maybe looked at the Conquest game mode and don't think it's very fair or don't think much of it. Here's some ideas for a few teams that we might build anyway for Grand Arena that look like they're going to do great in Conquest 2. So hope this helps some people. Please like this video. That helps me out a lot. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see more videos like this one in the future. And come visit us on Discord. The Discord is a great community of people. I like what we're building over there. We've got a lot of good stuff set up. Come join us. Thank you all. See you next time.